workplaces. People following the process, following the directions given to them to meet with government officials, doing the right thing, are being targeted for removal. And that is not right. Now is the moment that we need to all come together as Michiganders. Immigrants and refugees from all racial and ethnic backgrounds are under attack under this Trump administration. And it'll take all of us to restore the rights and opportunities that our vulnerable community members deserve. Immigrants and refugees make Michigan a better place. Our automotive economy, our agricultural economy, our healthcare system, and many of our thriving small businesses would not be what they are without immigrants and refugees. But even more importantly, our neighborhoods, our cities, our towns do better with immigrants and refugees, bringing their families, their talents, and their heritage to the vibrancy of our state. Let's keep immigrant and refugee families together. Once again, my colleagues and I urge those who are concerned about this situation to call ICE's Detroit field office and ask that Mr. Liu Yang and other Michigan Hmong refugees not be deported. Mr. Yang should be allowed to return to his family here in Michigan. And again, that phone number is 313-771-6601. I'm now going to hand it over to Senator Singh. Representative Devendorf.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Emily Devendorf, and I'm state representative for the 77th District, which represents right here in Lansing all the way up to St. John's, the community that Mr. Yang and his family call home. Today, we're gathered to address the unjust detention and potential deportation of Hmong refugees by ICE. First, we must acknowledge that Hmong Michiganders being detained and deported are our neighbors, real people with lives and families. Immigrant and refugee Michiganders are not faceless, nameless numbers, and they are disappearing from the homes next door and the workplaces we share. They are being torn from their spouses and their children. And while some of these individuals have minor and even expunged criminal infractions, they are productive members of our communities who add tremendous value to Michigan and the lives of their families. And yet, they are facing the devastating prospect of being removed from the only home they have ever known. Unlike state legal systems, federal immigration law generally does not recognize state-level expungements for immigration purposes. This means that even if a minor offense has been removed from an individual's record under Michigan law, it can still be considered a deportable offense by ICE. The unique and tragic history of the Hmong people exacerbates this injustice. They are, in essence, a stateless people. Many were born in refugee camps and lack official citizenship in any country. This makes them particularly vulnerable and will most likely lead to their deportation to a country where they have no ties and face potential danger. At this particularly fraught moment in history, this makes it possible for our Hmong neighbors to go from freedom to unjustified incarceration for indefinite lengths of time. This is not only inhumane, but also a betrayal of the promise we, as a country, made when our neighbors and friends sought refuge in the U.S. Today, we are calling on ICE and the Department of Homeland Security to immediately halt the detention and deportation of Hmong refugees in Michigan. The federal government needs to recognize the unique circumstances of refugee communities like the Hmong community, including their statelessness, and implement policies that reflect compassion and justice instead of tearing families apart. Detainment and fear are not democratic principles. We must encourage among ourselves a politics of hope and love for all people, no matter where they come from. We often talk about ourselves as a land of opportunity and second chances, and we must be that nation. A better life for you and your family, a community that weaves together differences, not to eliminate contrast, but to see the beauty of our unique contributions and to create a more beautiful tapestry of hope, a fulfilling life, liberty, and happiness. That is the promise that America has grown from. But recent actions of the federal government aren't just breaking that promise. They are downright cruelly punishing residents for attempting to live it. Michigan's immigrant and refugee communities are essential to our present and our future, and they deserve a chance to succeed. The Hmong people and their experience are the picture of what America should represent. They have brought so much good to Michigan, and they should know that we stand with them. Today, we stand together to fight for the dignity of our neighbors. We fight to reunite them with our families. We fight for justice and the dream of America. And next is Senator Singh.
Thank you very much, Representative Devendorf. My name is Senator Sam Singh. I'm the state senator for the 28th district, which includes Clinton County and St. John specifically. And I am proud to be here today to support Mr. Yang and his family because of the importance of our fabric of our community. When we take a look at immigrants and refugees, they are an integral part of the Michigan story. Myself, I am a son of Indian immigrants who came to this country in the 1960s. But as you've already heard, the Hmong community who's come here had a very different path. They had a path to this country because of their connection to the U.S. During the Vietnam War. They've come to our community and our state because they were part of something that the United States and the Hmong community had worked on together. These families have come to our state and other states around us, and they have been an integral part of our economic development. They're part of our public schools. They go to our universities. And to watch what is happening now, where people can be taken and detained by ICE for an infraction that might have occurred 30 years ago, for something that might have already been expunged by the state of Michigan or by another state. Having those types of items held against somebody when they have done everything you've asked for a person here in our country. They've been active in their own community. They've been active in the business community. They've been an active part of the broader city that they live in. And for us, we need to make sure that the same rights that are provided to people of due process are provided here. And that's why we all stand together today with Mr. Yang and his family to ensure that those rights are provided. We are calling on ICE, we're calling on our federal legislators to ensure that there is change to the policies that are here, because we should not be detaining families and splitting up families when those people were just doing the right thing and doing things for their country, their families, and the state of Michigan. So we look forward to strong action. We need to have change at the federal level. This cannot continue the way that it's going, and we will continue to work on that in the weeks and days to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Singh, Senator Chang, and Representative Devendorf for your leadership. Thank you to our Michigan Democrats and our staff. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm State Representative Mai Song. I represent the 13th House District, encompassing parts of Warren, Roseville, and St. Clair Shores in Macomb County. As the only elected official in Michigan who is both a surviving refugee and member of the Hmong community, I have a deep appreciation for the Michigan's tradition of creating opportunity for all who call it home. In Macomb County, 1 in 9 residents are foreign-born. Let me be very clear why we are here today. Because we are in an economic crisis. At its core, it is not an immigration issue. This is not a border security issue. The state of Michigan is going to face record losses in tax revenue, Medicaid cuts, SNAP benefits, all while money is being redirected to billionaires and millionaires. $70 billion towards border security and immigration control because of a federal bill that was signed into law last month. Instead of our federal leaders focusing on policy changes to reform the immigration system, they are throwing billions of dollars into hiring more ICE officers while providing sign-on bonuses to snatch people. We are going to see more detainments, more deportations. If you are not upset, you should be. If our Congress people are not speaking up, they should. Not only because the wives, husbands, elderly parents, and their children deserve answers, but because teachers are severely underpaid, education is underfunded, our roads are crumbling, seniors and veterans are going to lose access to health care. There's going to be food taken away from them and kids losing school lunches, all because money is going towards kidnapping people at work, rounding them up when they willingly show up for interviews, coercing people. Liu Yang, who came to the US legally as an asylum seeker when he was less than 1 year old, was detained by ICE on July 15th while at work. He is an immensely valuable member of the Hmong community here in Michigan and a productive member of society in our state. According to family members, Mr. Yang is being held at the North Lake Processing Center in Baldwin. Approximately 6 Hmong refugees and 8 Laotians were transported to Baldwin, then taken to the Port Isabel Service Processing Center in Texas earlier this week. And as of this morning, they are in Alexandria, Louisiana. The Southeast Asian Freedom Network, a network of advocacy organizations across the country, and immigration attorneys have informed me that they believe this is the final staging area for them before they leave on a plane to Laos. Most of these individuals have never been to Laos or were not born there. Their parents fled Laos because of war and persecution. Laos is the only country that does not have an MOU and Memorandum of Understanding or repatriation agreements with the US. The US has placed a travel ban on Laos. The US has sanctioned Laos in many other ways in order to secure backroom deals to exchange these Michigan residents who will be deported to a country they may not be safe in or have human rights. These Hmong refugees received vague letters in the mail asking them to report to an ICE field office on July 30th. The letter stated that it was for an interview. They believed it was a routine check-in with ICE or a court hearing. They willingly reported to ICE. The majority of them did not have legal representation. Detainments should never be hidden from the public eye. The press should have access to information about ICE raids or detainment tactics. ICE should immediately stop detaining and deporting individuals without due process. Refugees living in Michigan do not have a safe country to return to. Michigan is their home. This is where their families and communities and workplaces are. I hope that my constituents will understand that tearing families apart, removing taxpayers and workers from our communities, and placing them in private for-profit detention centers funded by our public dollars, or deporting them when they have been longtime residents of our state is not good economic policy. While some may feel a sense of safety from the billions of taxpayer dollars being poured into border security and immigration control, these individuals came here lawfully as refugees, just like me. They are not what officials label as the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens. These refugees are our neighbors, co-workers, our children's classmates, parents. I urge all decision makers reviewing these cases involving the Hmong refugees to consider the historical context and the legal realities of their circumstances. When a system allows one group of individuals to be dehumanized, it sets a dangerous precedent for others to be treated the same. It starts with the most vulnerable. But for those who may not believe in their hearts or their minds that this impacts them because they are not an immigrant or a refugee, I hope you will consider the pain to your wallets should these detainments continue to expand. Refugees in Michigan contributed nearly $2 billion annually. They paid $218 million in state and local taxes in 2022. Refugees in Southeast Michigan alone provided a $300 million positive economic benefit. Nationally, their contributions exceed $63 billion annually. My parents and siblings, like millions across the globe, were forced to flee their country of origin, seeking asylum in the United States. My father and grandfather fought alongside American soldiers during the Vietnam War and secret war in Laos, rescuing downed American pilots, blocking weapons, and saving American lives. And this country, the one that my father and my grandfather fought so bravely and patriotically for, was the very place they could only reach by crossing dangerous mountains and rivers to escape persecution. This was the country that they dreamed of for their children, where access to a quality public education is available to every child, no matter where they came from, where if you worked hard, you could build a life for yourself, where you didn't have to be rich or well-connected to have a better future. That is the America that my children, that they knew their children could have. The America my parents heard of, the one they had hoped for, seems unrecognizable today. Every day, when I fight to protect public education, public safety, and transparency between our government and the people we serve, I am honoring the strength of the millions of families who believe in this America. America made a promise to families like mine. Now that promise is in danger of being broken. This must be the land where people come to find political refuge, civil protections, a quality education, economic prosperity, and justice for all. Everyone, regardless of immigration status, cultural background, or economic situation, deserves to feel safe and live with dignity. This past week has been a nightmare for the families of these Hmong refugees trying to locate their loved ones. I've been working with the Michigan Immigration Rights Center, nonprofit advocacy organizations, and volunteer attorneys to triage, locate, and connect these family members to resources. It has been like trying to find missing people. I'm grateful to Merck for providing education on individual rights. Thank you to their staff and other organizations, attorneys, and volunteers who have all stepped up during this time to work collectively. The family members left to navigate this complex system are mothers with young children and senior citizens with limited English. Thankfully, several individuals and groups have stepped up to offer their support and guidance to these family members. It is time our government does the same to give these family members answers. The responsibility does not lie solely on the individual to navigate a complex and evolving system. It lies with us to honor our commitments and to ensure that justice reflects not only the law, but also compassion, context, and truth. It is my hope that every Michigander will take the time to know their rights, including the following. You have the right to remain silent and answer no questions until you have a lawyer present. You have the right to demand a judicial warrant before letting ICE into your home. An ICE warrant does not give ICE the authority to enter your residence. You have a right under the First Amendment of the Constitution to record or take photos in public view of law enforcement and ICE so long as you do not interfere with an arrest. We are urging residents to take action by calling the ICE Detroit Field Office 313-771-6601. And with that, I would like to invite Ann Vu, who is the wife of Liu Ying, to come and share his story. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us, for coming out, and for listening. My name is Ann Vu, and I come before you today with a heart full of hope, sorrow, and a plea for justice. I am a proud American, a mother of 6, the daughter of Hmong refugees who would gain their citizenship, and the wife of a man called Liu Ying, who is now detained and faced with potential deportation from the only country that he's ever known. Liu has lived in Michigan since 1979. To be exact, it's October 1979. He was born stateless in a refugee camp in Nong Khai, Thailand, and his family fled Laos due to persecution. His father, and like many others, served with the United States force during the Vietnam War as part of the secret war recruited by CIA in Laos, a conflict that most Americans do not know that has happened. And I, yet myself, being born in America, had to go back and learn about this history because it's not taught. The Hmong were recruited by the CIA as part of the secret war to help America during the Vietnam War. They saved the lives of countless Americans, guarded critical supply lines, and fought alongside our soldiers in the shadow, often giving away their own lives. But when the war ended and the US withdrew, we were, as the Hmongs, declared enemy of the state by the Lao Party, by the new Lao Party, the new communist regime. What followed was genocide, escaping, in the refugee camps. At the time before the war, there was probably a good 300 of us that migrated to Laos, leaving only 50,000 families to survive. And in most recent 2025 Genocide Watch says that there are still Hmong people that are advocating, still missing. There is still highlights of dehumanization, polarization, and persecution by the state. And it was because of our alliance, the promise made by the US government that the Hmong refugees were legally settled under certain migration and refugee laws and acts, and later the Refugee Act of 1980. Thousands of Hmongs were admitted legally through parole authority and later granted lawful permanent residency. And that goes to my father, who then received permanent residency and brought his family to America here in October of 1979 to get away from persecution and for protection. And Lou arrived here as a young toddler in infancy. In 1997, he was arrested on an alleged accomplice in an attempt home invasion, second degree. He was in a vehicle at the time. He never entered the home. He literally was still a juvenile at that time. He had a court-appointed attorney and was advised to take a plea deal without being told it would affect his immigration status for the rest of his life. This is 10 months that he spent. And now we're going to be serving more time. And with that being said, he served 10 months in jail. He was released on good behavior. He never reoffended, not even a ticket. He expunged his record in 2018. He served his time and he paid his dues already. And that was nearly 3 decades ago. We tried our best to do everything that we can. We worked hard, and we know that in the immigration system, it is expensive. And we saved up, and in 2014, I tried to sponsor him. I tried to get his green card. I tried my best to get his citizenship reinstated. We gathered all the documents that was needed. We paid thousands of dollars in application fees, and then we were told that he would be denied. Not because he's a danger. He was a danger to us. Not because he didn't belong, but because of the same conviction in 1997, a mistake that happened decades earlier ago, under pressure with no immigration counsel and no understanding of the consequences. This is the reality of our immigration system: long, complex, confusing, and devastating, unforgiving. It is not built for people like us, people like Lou, people who have served their time, rebuilt their lives, and have nowhere else to go. We've walked this legal path. We've stayed together in the lines, and yet we are here, punished today. Lou has no other charges, no current legal issues, no history of violence. He is not a flight risk. He is not a danger to our public safety. He is a father, my husband, a son-in-law, a grandson, and a brother to many, and our leader and a provider to our community and to my family. He renews his work authorization without fail, attends every yearly check-in with his immigration officer, and follows every rule asked of him, no matter how uncertain the future felt. He worked long hours, often overnights, but never let exhaustion steal him from us. He still came home after a long day of work to help with the kids, to cheer from the sidelines of football games, to help with their homework, to pay the bills, and provide his support to the economic, helping our family anytime there's a need, making sure that our 99-year-old grandma has a hot plate every morning when he gets home from work after a long day so that she can take her medicine and feel good to preserve her for the many more generations to come. He cares for his aging parents. He loves those with comfort and dignity that depends on his presence every day. The kindness that is hard to find, you will find it in him. Together, we've raised 6 beautiful children that are all proud Americans. Our children, we've raised them to be kind, law-abiding citizens, to do well, to chase their American dream. Lou has contributed to Michigan's economy for decades, most recently earning a promotion into an engineering department after years of dedication and climbing through the ladder, working in our automotive industry and the labor factories. He never asked for a handout. He worked every step of the way. And I appreciate that his workplace gives him the compassion that he needs and awaits his return home every single day. He is an amazing person. His co-workers who yet know what has happened calls every day to ask about Lou, who is a leader to them. This little team leader who's made such a big impact. And we all know that in the automotive industry, there's a high turnover. But he's there. We don't have much. He takes what money we have, makes it fun for his employees, for his team. And he's earned his way up. And every day, even till this morning, his phone rings and it's his coworkers. Even if they don't report to him, he is missing from the desk that they see him every day and have seen him there since 2016. And he still makes time to find the time to give back, to volunteer for his children in school, different school projects, to support our local events, even stepping into leadership as a community elected president of Hmong Family Association of Lansing, which is a voluntary position. He's not compensated for the position. He does it because he loves the community. He believes that we need to educate ourselves. We live here in America. We have accesses and resources. He didn't do this for applause. He did it out of love, out of duty, out of the belief that if you pour good into the world, good will come back. And now he is gone, and all that he has built is unraveling, and the community is heartbroken. Lou is the second oldest of 7 siblings. He is a beloved uncle to 29 nieces and nephews on his side. And as my husband, he is the eldest son-in-law to my 5 siblings and their 18 children, each of whom he treats as his own and is very close to. He has become the steady, humble center of 2 families who now find themselves shaken to the core. We have been married for 24 and a half years, a lifetime of growing, learning, and loving side by side. We earned our GEDs together. We went to college together. We earned college credits together. We raised 6 beautiful children together and supported one another through every hardship while taking care of our parents and our grandparents. We didn't come from wealth. We didn't have every opportunity handed to us because we didn't come seeking a land of opportunity. We came here because of survival. We had to build from the ground up. But the most important thing was Lou and I, we had each other. We had our families, our friends, and our neighbors. We had a shared commitment to build a better life, grounded in love, respect, and purpose. And somehow that's still not enough. We reside today in St. John's, Michigan with our 6 children who are 24, 23, 16, 9, 8, and 6 years old. They're all born here, right in the city of Lansing, Michigan, along with me. Our oldest son, who had to step away from his technical training this fall just to help hold our home together, both of my 2 older boys who's worked long, countless hours have finally saved enough money to buy their first new car, which is a milestone they've worked so hard for. And now that dream has to be put on hold because it's overshadowed by fear, uncertainty, and the weight of keeping our family afloat. Our 16-year-old walked away from things that gave him joy, his things that he are involved in school, putting his sports on hold. Haven't found in his heart how to present this to his coaches so that he can step in and also help me care for his siblings. Our youngest children, since his detainment, cry every night with insomnia. Now we sleep in the living room just in case they want to make sure that I'm still here with them, scared that I am next. And our 99-year-old grandmother, who relies on oxygen 24 hours a day, who is struggling with the first stage of Alzheimer's and memory loss, having us to explain this to her every single day, going through this emotion every single day, cries so much that we have not heard her voice in the last 2 weeks because it's so hoarse now. She sits every day on the porch. Her oxygen machine is heavy. She could care less whether we carry it or not out there. Has recently told me this Monday to bring the family to see her because her time is short. She can no longer wait for him. And to see her suffer. And when all we wanted to do was spend her remaining time surrounded with love and peace with many more generations to come. And this is devastating that this peace is now gone. With that being said, too, Lou, he comes and joins the kids this year because of what is happening in our economic, wanted to teach the children how to garden. So he built a garden right outside with my children. And even at the school, my kids going back to school, bringing their crops that they're learning from school home to plant. And even that has wilted because my kids are so sad that every time they go, it reminds them of their growth with their father. Even feeding their little ducks and chickens that everybody knows us for, even the neighbors' animals have come to stay with us. Can't even make it out there enough to be out there because it's devastating. For years, we were told that many, like other Hmong families, that Laos and Thailand would never take us back. We were told that there are no former repatriation agreements and no reason to worry, and that has changed. And as Mai and Minnie has stated, in June 2025, the U.S. imposed a partial travel ban on Laos, citing visa overstays and lack of deportation cooperation. And in response, Laos began issuing these documents under pressure. Today, over 4,800, including Hmong men and the other ethnic minorities, are facing removal to Laos and to many other countries, many of whom were born in Thai refugee camps and have never stepped foot in a country that they are now being sent to. Lou is not a citizen of Laos or Thailand. Both countries have rejected him over and over in the early 2000s, each time stating that he is not their citizen. He was born on Thai refugee camp because of the United States war. Go back to them and ask them. Lou is stateless, like many others that is detained with him. None of these countries recognize him. And because even if he was born in the Thailand refugee camp, it does not recognize him nor qualify him for any sort of Thai citizenship, is what he was told. And I'll tell you guys right now, if forced to return, he will face danger because of his family's deep ties to the CIA and United States military. His father, a former Hmong soldier recruited by CIA during the secret Laos and wars in Laos, risked his life on a mission, including the last one that nearly killed him because he had to save an American flight with a couple American pilots on it, where he was hit by dynamite and it was put back into a body, carried back by the Americans in a body bag to site and camp so that that the soldiers can mourn him to miraculously surviving. And he carried shrapnel of grenades and dynamite throughout his whole body today, in through his head skull. And because of that, there are certain medical procedures today that our equipment cannot help him because of those metals. Deporting Lou to Laos not only breaks our American moral promises to those who stood with us in war, it would place a target directly on our backs, especially his. According to Human Rights Watch, deporting Hmongs to Laos, especially those ties to the U.S. military, have faced arbitrary detention, forced disappearance, especially those in the United States military. Their families continue to look for them. And with Lou's public advocacy here in America, for our Hmong veterans and our Hmong American people today significantly increases that he will be identified and persecuted upon arrival. He will receive a death sentence. Deporting him not only turns him into a civil servant and respected community leader into a political casualty. It would be a grave and irreversible injustice. To deport him now is to punish him to death over 10 months. 10 months, you guys. Punish him to death. It would then punish us all here, me, all of our children, his parents, his family, and his 99-year-old grandma, our entire family and our community. He has already served his time. He's turned his life around, and he built a life in America rooted on purpose, love, and service. Especially now as a visible leader here in America, here in the state of Michigan, right here in the capital of Lansing, Michigan. Half a century since our people fled persecution for standing next to the United States during the Vietnam War. And once again, 50 years later, as we celebrate resilience this year across the nation, we are now celebrating a fight within our own grounds right here in the United States, right here in Michigan. We are now fighting the same fight within our own country. Since detainment, Lou's health has deteriorated. And I'm not using this or saying this so that you guys can feel sorry for him. It's real. I won't go into details, but he urgently needs to return home so that he can receive the proper medical care. He entered the detention healthy, and I want him out the same exact way he was taken in. He is an active person. He is healthy. He lives a healthy lifestyle. And now I do fear that he has moments that he may not return at all. And Lou's case, of course, is not unique. Thousands of Southeast Asian Americans, many that entered legally, admitted as refugees, are being deported for decade-old offenses they've long paid for. And these laws do not account for stateless trauma and rehabilitation. We here in America, we believe in second chances. It's a core American value rooted in our nation's founding principles of freedom, justice, and redemption. This belief lives in bipartisan reforms like Clean States, which offers people the opportunity to move forward with dignity. We are a nation that values rehabilitation, not just for citizens, but for all those who call this country home and has contributed to its promise. We should be out there detaining the worst of the worst. And my husband is not one of them. And many others who live in fear of being separated from their loved ones after already paying their debt and then rebuilt their lives. I want everyone today to know we want to be here. We love this country. I and my kids, we are proud American citizens. We are proud Michiganders. There are many Hmongs in larger states such as California, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. But our family chose to stay here in Michigan because of the grounding root of love, and we remained. I embraced the land with my whole heart. Even before considering traveling to another country, we choose to travel here, spend our good dollars growing our Michigan economy, growing our Michigan, our state. And we hope to continue traveling the Great Lakes to the shores of the Upper Peninsula and the many other states that we have yet seen together. We are not outsiders. Michigan is our community. America is our country. Both are our home. And that's all we ask is the right to stay in the home that we've helped to build and work hard to protect. We are not seeking special treatment. We are asking for justice, compassion, and a second chance in this country to claim what we believe in. To Governor Whitmer and members of Congress and all elected officials to justice, please help bring Lou and the many others home. Urge ICE and DHS to release him on humanitarian grounds. Support a motion to help his case. Help us preserve the integrity of our laws and the dignity of our families. And to the public, allies, and the media, please call our elected officials. Please call these offices. Please share Lou's story. Please use the hashtag Bring Lou Home. We are working with legal counsel. We have with legal counsel, and we need voices louder than ours alone. And tomorrow, my daughter turns 10 and our baby turns 7 on Sunday, and he will not be here to visit. And I get 1 hour with him on Saturday, and still being told that I have to leave one child sitting out because only 4 of us can go in. It is hard times, you guys. It is real. And I speak to you from the bottom of my heart. This will be the first time that he will be missing any of his children's birthday. We've got this ritual that we do together every year because we never know what life brings us. He likes to do a picture. We have really just a cake, just our family. We each do a picture with the kids to build for their milestone as we present to them. It is to present to them on their wedding days. And at this time, even that is not guaranteed. Please help me and our families and the many that are suffering. There are many that has not heard from their loved ones since detainment and being transferred. This is our home. These are our children. This is my husband, and this is our fight. Let him come home. Let our families be whole again. And let America keep its promise. Thank you guys for hearing me.
That I would like to invite Isa up to talk a little bit about the legal aspects of it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Isa Villarosa, and I'm an attorney with the Asian Law Caucus. I'm a resident of Oakland County. I'm a Filipino-American and proud daughter of immigrants. And on behalf of all of us, Anne, thank you. We are enraged. We are here with you. And we are in awe of the courage you have for your husband and our community members fighting this pain, this injustice. On behalf of the Asian Law Caucus, the country's first Asian American civil rights legal organization, and personally as a fellow Michigander, we are here with you and we are not going away. From Lansing to the San Francisco Bay Area, where many of our immigrant and refugee clients call home, most of us would do anything to keep our loved ones safe and alive, like Anne. We've heard from our speakers, including leaders of the Hmong community, sharing their hearts and history with you. In the 1970s and 80s, millions fled the Khmer Rouge and US-backed war. Families risked everything to escape Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. After surviving war, genocide, and intergenerational trauma, this community and too many are now forced to relive these wounds, this time at the hands of a US government prioritizing at terrifying scope and scale the targeting and disappearance of loved ones, mentors, business owners, anchors of their families, as you have seen today, and their communities, often based on decades-old offenses that happen because of racial profiling, unfair criminal proceedings, lack of mental health supports, or any number of cracks within our broken criminal and immigration systems. And yet, here's why we are all today here. We cannot let broken systems break us. In recent weeks, ICE and cooperating local and state law enforcement have seized, at times unlawfully, our neighbors and friends on their way to work, in their homes, and reporting for immigration check-ins in Michigan and across the country. From Hmong and Southeast Asian refugees abducted by ICE in Michigan, from talking with families and advocates, we do not know whether valid warrants were used when folks were taken from their communities and homes. And because many were rapidly, quietly moved from one ICE facility to the next, as many as 4 facilities across thousands of miles within a matter of days from Michigan to Louisiana, there are glaring due process questions about every step of their detention and processing. Representative Song and Senator Chan joined a number of our civil rights and community groups yesterday, where they shared the tireless ways they and others are trying to get answers and accountability on these arrests and detentions to no avail. What does it say about our country if some of our most well-connected and engaged, our elected officials, are themselves blocked from basic knowledge and transparency from the federal government, including information on whether or not their constituents are safe, alive, still in this country? At Asian Law Caucus, we are asking the same questions and are with you in this fight. That is why recently we have filed several Freedom of Information Act requests directed at federal entities like ICE, DHS, and the State Department, demanding critical information on the documents, processes, and procedures that have supercharged deportations to Laos and Vietnam, and even countries like Bhutan, where we know that folks are immediately expelled from the country and thrown into statelessness with US knowledge. For the Hmong communities taken last week, without transparency or a shred of meaningful time for them or their families to find legal counsel, between their swift arrest, transport to Baldwin, Michigan, and then transport to Texas or Ohio, followed by Louisiana, a likely final staging area for deportation, they are very well facing removal to a third country, unheard of and not accepted as immigration policy before this administration, as we've seen before with Southeast Asian refugees deported to South Sudan and countries they have no ties to, unjustly denying them the opportunity to assert fear in court of removal to that country, as is required by the Immigration and Nationality Act. For Lu Yang and the several dozen Southeast Asian Michiganders facing removal to a country they've never known, for Midwest Bhutanese refugees like Mohan Karki, who, like many of the Hmong refugees fighting removal, face statelessness and deportation to a country of their family's persecution that will not accept them, for the tens of thousands across African, Latin, Asian, and Arab American communities grieving for lives stolen away by our American deportation nightmare, and the elected officials emboldening it, we cannot stand by in silence. In removing the opportunity for fair immigration proceedings, detaining both immigrants and citizens, and disappearing people without giving them a call to their lawyer, the Trump administration has made its priorities clear, abusing its power to attack all of us. None of us are safe when families are ripped apart. We call on state and local officials to stand firmly for due process. Now is the time for our leaders to do everything they can to protect us, including our immigrant and refugee neighbors. Please help Representative Song, Senator Chang, and groups like Asian Law Caucus uplift the FOIA requests and calls to ICE and the federal government demanding basic understanding, insight, and transparency into our fellow constituents' fundamental rights. Amplify the growing local and national calls to challenge ICE abuses made possible through bloated budgets that ramp up racial profiling, AI surveillance, and cooperation with local and state law enforcement. Michigan, friends, the time for action and solidarity is now, together in this urgent battle. Please join us. Please free Lou.
Right, with that, we will take some questions.
Could I ask a question of the attorney? Is what they did with Lu Yang, is that illegal or just indecent what they've done?
Yes, thanks for your question. As Anne mentioned, we have a legal team and representation for Lou, and we are mobilizing because we strongly believe that due process was not followed. From the arrest, as Anne described, to the quick deportation, there are serious considerations both from a due process perspective, but also from the Immigration and Nationality Act, which is still the rule of the land. So yes, we have serious doubts.
Representative Song, I believe you had mentioned earlier that Hmong Americans were receiving letters to check in with ICE at their facilities. Was this part of a routine check-in, or was this out of the blue as far as you're aware?
I believe this was out of the blue. A number of them did receive this letter about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and family members did provide me a copy of the letter. It was very vague, and it just had the date, a time, and the purpose was listed as, I quote, interview. There were no additional details.
And was this a letter that was got as
So Lou is the only one that did not receive this letter. He was the first known detainee on July 15th. After that, July 30th was the date where the other refugees were met at the ICE facility in downtown Detroit. There were a number of them who did reach out to me the day before asking for letters of support through my office. And I didn't put two and two together until I spoke to Mr. Liu Yang's attorney, who had notified me that one of the potential detainees that day had called him, asking him to attend with him at that interview. A number of them did not have representation other than maybe two of them, including Mr. Liu's attorney. And they were allowed to walk back, watch their client get detained, and then they had to step out of the room and notify their family members. Those that did not have legal representation had to wait there for several hours until an officer came out and informed them that their loved one would not be returning.
So just to clarify, Lou was detained at work.
Lou was detained at work on July 15th, and he works at a manufacturing company here in Lansing. I believe he was about 1 year old. I think he was born in 1978, and you guys came in 1979 or 1978.
47.
You come stand up. Sorry, yes.
He is 47 years old. 24 and a half years. Yes. My name is ANCYVUE, but I go by Ann, and then my husband's name is LUEYANG.
So VUE is your maiden last name.
Yes, VUE is my maiden last name. That is correct.
Yes.
Representative, can you talk a little bit more about some of the efforts by state lawmakers to explore the conditions of the Baldwin facility, and you also say whether the governor's administration has been involved in this at all yet?
So I will say we are exploring opportunities to visit the Baldwin facility, but my understanding is Senator Peters did visit it earlier this year. It was just opened up in June. It was prior corrections facility, and they renovated it. So my understanding is there hasn't been any huge complaints. The biggest concern that I've heard is currently where the majority of the refugees have been moved to Alexandria, Louisiana. That is where the majority of human rights violations have been. I have received calls this morning from the family members who were able to get a hold of them, and they are it is literally a crisis mode right now. They are facing hunger in an overcrowded facility at that staging center. So we're trying to work with partner volunteer attorneys to see if there's anything that we can do, a pathway to halt this process so that there can be an exploration of any legal remedies that may be required. But this is just happening so quickly that it's hard to keep up. I'm grateful for the advocacy organizations that I've reached out to who are experiencing this around the country, and they have a lot more experience. I certainly learned a lot this past week in navigating this process. And I know that Ann has written a letter to the governor to inform her and other electeds of the situation, but I can't speak for the governor. Yes.
I'll just also add that we are working on a letter to ICE on behalf of a number of elected officials, and we'll be asking our colleagues to sign on and support on behalf of Liu Yang, as well as a number of other Hmong refugees in both Michigan and Ohio. And then the other thing that I would mention that I would encourage others to also do as well. I know a number of folks in the legislature and in the community have been doing Know Your Rights trainings, and that's something that we'll have to continue to do. But unfortunately, as was referenced, oftentimes people's rights are actually being violated regardless of what those rights are.
As has already been stated and explained, we are working against the clock here. This process moves very fast when it really should not, when we should have that due process. There are routes for challenging this record being these convictions being on somebody's record, but they often take time. So they are asks that we can make of folks that are above our pay grade even. But another thing that I think is really important for us all to understand, regardless of what job we have in the community, but also as legislators, Perhaps working on immigration policy to this extent has never been a part of our job description before. Perhaps we did not expect us to have these responsibilities or to need to be as involved in our communities, but we need to meet this moment. And that means maybe we need to rewrite our job descriptions as legislators and be in our communities, be forming those coalitions, be doing those knowing our rights trainings, but also be showing up for our neighbors and asking our neighbors to show up for our neighbors once we really understand those rights. It is more important than ever that we are boots on the ground along with everybody else that is willing to be allies to our immigrant and refugee neighbors.
All right, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.